Mike Zorn's here, aka the Political Otter, and I am walking through Chrystia Freeland's riding right now, which is the perfect backdrop for a quick little discussion because apparently a lot of people need to go back to civics class. All right, couldn't help myself. Had my YouTube channel going, and it happened to stumble on a couple of commentators from Canada talking about how the downfall of the Trudeau government happened to, I don't think you can call them news outlets. Gossip outlets are probably a better description in the UK. So this is what I'm responding to, because the thesis that this reporter was putting out there was that the prime ministership was handed over very gently, like a golden baton, to Mark Carney from Trudeau. Okay, yeah, so, I actually paid attention to what was going on here, and that's not what happened. So here's a fresh reminder of how Prime Minister Mark Carney became Prime Minister Mark Carney. So let's roll back to 2024, where the federal Liberal brand in Canada, under Justin Trudeau, basically became toxic. There's a reality, and I'm quoting Chrystia Freeland's interview that she did with Bill Maher here, where after a certain amount of time, pretty much any long-serving Prime Minister of Canada gets a little bit of stink on them. We've also seen this provincially with the Liberal Party. We've seen this with Conservatives in the past. This isn't anything new. There is kind of a reality when you've been in office for 9+ years. The shine wears off and people stop liking you. And that was very true of Trudeau. And, I'll say the unpopular thing among Liberals, well earned by Trudeau. There's a lot of policy mistakes that were made along the way there. Trudeau was very stubborn, absolutely committed to wanting a fourth term and running in the next election, despite the fact that every poll said he would lose. So we started seeing a lot of Liberals question this. There was definitely a movement within the party to have him no longer be the head of the party. This culminated when he decided to remove Chrystia Freeland, who had been his number 2 for the entirety of the 9 years, almost 10, that he'd been prime minister. He decided to remove her from her post as the finance minister. He wanted to instill Mark Carney into that post, and he presented a budget that absolutely went against everything that Chrystia stands for. So she quit. She wrote an open letter to the public, to Justin Trudeau, saying why she quit, why she could no longer support his prime ministership, and she absolutely overthrew the current government. The resulting impact is that he was forced by the party to resign. So let's just get that translated into what that means in English for everyone who doesn't follow politics. That's called a coup. That's not a golden baton being passed to anybody. That's a coup. Now, the reality is, Chrystia Freeland, probably the heir apparent for the next leader of the Liberal Party. But of course, the Liberal Party is a democratic institution within our government, which is also a democratic institution. It has rules and regulations as to how leaders are picked. There was an open race for the leadership. There were 5 candidates, the top 2 of which were Mark Carney and Chrystia Freeland. The party has about 400,000 members, all of whom are eligible to vote in a leadership election, and the party, by an 85% margin, voted for Mark Carney. He became the head of the party, and the fact that the Liberals were the head of the government at the time meant that he became the prime minister. This was Chrystia Freeland got the second most amount of votes at something like 8%. So this was not some golden baton that was gently handed to and is an extension of Justin Trudeau. This was a freaking coup orchestrated by Chrystia Freeland, probably with a result that was different than what she expected. So anybody who wants to draw that line of heir apparent or parallels to what we saw with Paul Martin at the end of the Chrétien era, no, no. That is not what happened here. And we gotta start calling out everybody who is going on international television and online outlets continuing to peddle this false narrative. Trudeau was brought down by an internal coup in the Liberal Party, which was started by and executed by Chrystia Freeland, is number 2. Bye.